important to D&D. We have feats. They feel even more important now. Let's go into the feats that we have in this UA.
And there are a lot of feats in this UA.
There are a lot of feats.
So in the previous Unearthed Arcana, we unveiled a number of first level feats. In this Unearthed Arcana, we focus on 4th level feats and 20th level feats. And the reason for that is most characters are going to start interacting with non-first level feats at 4th level.
Right.
Yes.
Because in the past, that's when people got the ability score improvement feature. Functionally, nothing has changed. It's just now at 4th level, you get the ability score improvement feat, which functions the same way as the feature. But now it's more transparent that it functionally always was a feat. Now it's just much more clearly where it belongs with the other feats, and you have the option to go with it or one of the many other feats that are available to you. Now, when you take a feat, you can take any feat that is of your level or lower. So when you get to 4th level, that means you're not
that
limited
makes sense.
to 4th level feats. If there's a 1st level feat that you would like to take, you can certainly take that feat. But the level of a feat represents the ceiling. It's as high as you can go. Your level has to equal the feats to be able to take the feat, or your level has to be higher than the feat's level. So you're not going to get access to those 20th level feats until your 20th level, and those feats are super exciting. Those are the epic boons that originally appeared in the Dungeon Master's Guide and have all been given a fresh coat of paint. Many of them have been given new functions within them, and now everyone gets one when they hit 20th level. I think it's awesome because in the past, you didn't start getting epic boons until, first off, if your DM even wanted to use those rules.
Right.
Second of all, it was after you hit 20th level. Epic boons were sort of a way for you to keep leveling up once you'd hit the level cap. Now you get your first taste of epic boons when you hit 20th level. And they are really, really good, and we want them to be, because when you hit the top level of the game, we want you to feel
briefly looked at them.
epic. And we have here in the UA also the rule, just like in the 2014 Dungeon Master's Guide, that you can get more epic boons as you gain XP at 20th level. But we've expanded it, because now we haven't limited it to epic boons, it's just feats in general. So if you decide to play at 20th level for a while and are getting a lot of XP, you have the option of every time you hit that XP threshold of getting another feat. And given the number of feats that are here and that are coming, there will be a lot of ways for you to customize your character, even at max level. Now,
so I can be level 30
in this
again.
feat section, in addition to the epic boons and these 4th level feats, what you're going to see in sort of the guts of the feats themselves is a lot of new material. So the feat names will be familiar. You're going to see actor, you're going to see athlete, you're going to see keen mind, so on and so forth. But once you start reading the feat, you are going to find a lot of tasty goodies that were not there before. We revisited every single feat and have, in pretty much most of the cases, there are a few exceptions, upgraded the feat in some way. There were a few feats that were so good the way they were that they're largely the same, but most of these feats have benefits in them that weren't there before. And they're going to make your character have abilities that they didn't have before, should you decide to delve into these feats. You're also going to see in the 4th level feats that they give you an ability score increase, because we want to make it so that if you decide to engage in feats other than ability score increase, it doesn't sting as much. There's still a trade-off. I mean, because +2 to an ability score, which increases your modifier across the board, is fantastic. But we want to make it so that the other 4th level feats are truly competitive with that option. And that's why you're going to see here an ability score increase of 1 rather than 2, coupled with the other
We already call
benefits
those
in the particular
feats.
feats. And these benefits explore a variety of mechanical tropes that in some cases we have never done before in the current editions. For example, one of the coolest feats, and the sentence I never thought I would say, is durable. A feat that now allows you as a bonus action to expend a hit die and regain hit points.
Right.
And so like suddenly, like if you really want your hit dice to work for you and you don't want it to be tied to short rests, there's a feat for that. If you want to be the person who can study clues and books and other things quicker than anybody else, well, you can now do that with Keen Mind. And it's funny, Keen Mind is the new version, is one of my other favorite feats here, where it has this very simple, one of its benefits is the very simple, you can take the study action as a bonus action.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I need to unpack that.
Yeah,
because
because
that's a new action.
Yeah.
So the rules glossary in this UA introduces several new actions to the game. One of those is the study action. We realized we needed to codify better how do you use your intelligence score typically, sometimes it's other scores, but usually it's intelligence, to figure things out. This design question becomes even more pronounced for characters who've invested in proficiencies like history, religion, arcana. The study action is an answer to that design situation where we give you guidelines on which skills to use for different areas of knowledge, and then that action pairs with things like the new Keen Mind feat, where you can take that action as a bonus action. And there's a lot of synergy in this Unearthed Arcana, and people are going to see it in the future ones between all of the elements of the game, where we are looking at the baseline rules, classes, subclasses, feats, spells, backgrounds. How do all of these things work together, and how can we make them all sing together even better than they already did? You're also going to see in the rules glossary, and this is on my mind talking about the study action, like the influence action. We have taken our social interaction rules that previously were in the Dungeon Master's Guide and moved them into a baseline action that people can take to try to influence other creatures.
How to influence
we have
people.
DCs, we have guidance on how much
Sounds
can
like
you
a book.
influence somebody else with this, because it's not mind control.
Right.
It's conversation, or it's gestures, or it's how you're emoting in other ways, and how can you influence somebody using this action. And so again, a number of the feats interact with things in this rules glossary. They give you benefits that you maybe didn't have before. There is even one first level feat in this UA. Originally, there weren't going to be any, but while working on this, we realized the lightly armored feat really should be first level. But also we made it better.
Yeah.
That feat now gives you proficiency with light armor, medium armor, and shields. And a reason for buffing up that feat in that way is you can, if you multi-class, get all those proficiencies by taking one level in certain classes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Breaking them up the way we had previously was simply too punishing. And so we've now made it so that using these playtest rules, and particularly paired with the backgrounds of the previous UA, if you're playing a character who maybe doesn't get those that
think
armor
that
training,
actually
rather. I called
opens
it
things
armor
up
proficiency.
to
But
there
actually in
only
this
being
UA, we now
light
call it armor
and heavy
training.
armor.
Right.
You can now, with this first level feat, get that training with that armor. by the way, a design note, the reason why we've changed that name from armor proficiency to armor training is armor proficiency was the one proficiency in the game that didn't use your proficiency bonus.
That's not proficiency.
Exactly. And so what we're doing is we're making it so
Says
that
you. Says
now
you.
in the rules, if something talks about you having proficiency in
use it.
something, it uses your proficiency bonus.
No, I think from now on, I'm going to make everyone who wants to put on their armor at roll a proficiency roll. I'm going to be the worst DM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've actually brought back terminology that was in the game many editions ago of just talking about your armor training.
I am a fan of Spell Sniper. I like the Spell Sniper now is not only about sniping, but just being good at using a spell at close range as well.
Yep.
Instead of dipping into Crossbow Expert to get that kind of benefit.
We definitely have heard people loud and clear over the years about not liking the pain of having to take Crossbow Expert just for that one benefit.
Right.
And so that benefit now appears in several feats. So it's in Spell Sniper, it's in Sharpshooter, and it's in Crossbow Expert. So whatever your favored flavor of ranged combat here, you can get that. And you might even see that benefit again in some of our future Unearthed Arcanas, because this isn't even all of the feats.
Right.
We've held back feats that are specific to some of the other class groups. So the Unearthed Arcana for warriors is particularly going to have some feats that are not represented here, as long as along with some new options for how to use weapons and have those weapons do things that they have not been able to do in the past. But that will be something we will delve into.
So, sounds like with that last part, they're going to do their own take on what Baldur's Gate 3 is doing. I think we're clear about the parts of a feat. Description. I like the mimicry part, definitely. I would expand from just charisma to, I don't know, wisdom, maybe, intelligence. Give us options with what ability score. I mean, obviously, most of this is charisma, impersonation and mimicry definitely feel like they hint at like intelligence or sort of like a cunning, which is not what charisma is. Wow, a prerequisite score to be able to take it. That's new. Athlete gives you a climbing speed. Well, that's nice. Oh, and hop up. That is basically something that certain types of monks could get. Definitely having it in others, where you can go from prone at the cost of only 5 feet of movement, rather than like half of your movement is a big plus. And advantage on jumping. Charger. More dash when you do a dash. And gain a 1d8 on a damage roll. I kind of like that. It's something that a lot of monsters had, so I can definitely see the use here. I still hate this property. And dual wielding definitely feels like it doesn't belong here. It's only for one type of crossbow, which is the hand crossbow, because it's the only one that you can use basically, one weapon in each hand. But I know that's a me thing. I know that's a me thing. I still don't like crossbow expert, as they put it here. Defensive duelist, parrying. Sorry about that. Loud car in the background. I definitely don't like this wording. I'm not sure how well you guys can see it, but it says to use your reaction to add your proficiency bonus to your AC for an attack. That does not feel like a good parry to me. I would have it be like one... I don't know how to even word that. Basically like rolling to do an attack. So like you can use your damage, and your damage versus their damage is how much damage is blocked. That feels appropriate. Like a real parry. In fact, it's pretty close to what I do in Celestia. Dual wielder. You can treat a non-light weapon in the other hand as if it had the light property. As long as it lacks the two-handed property. And you couldn't dual wield the weapons if they had two-handed property anyway. So, that seems like common sense. The quick draw part means almost nothing unless your DM or GM is going to care about that. Drawing your weapon, usually at least, isn't a big deal for me. So, advantage on death saves is really nice. And the whole thing about using bonus action to regain hit points by using a hit die. I actually would like that for all characters. Yeah. I'll talk about that some other time, but... yeah. Elemental Adept. Oh, ignore resistance to a chosen damage type. I mean, that's super good. In some cases. If they're immune to it, though, not as helpful. I wish it had some wording about reducing immunity to resistance. That would definitely make it a little bit better. And it lets you treat ones as twos when you roll damage, which is a slight boost. Oh, here's an epic boon. Combat prowess. When you miss with a melee attack, you can hit instead. So, once per encounter, you can just automatically hit. Well, that would be great for, like, a rogue. Like a sniper rogue. Get that sneak attack in. But only once. Great thing to take on, like, the big bad with. You can just place yourself somewhere, use a ranged weapon, get that first hit right off the bat, and just drop them. Just drop them. I mean, if you make them non-squishy enough, it's not an issue. But, yeah, I could just see that being, like, deadly. At least in the right circumstance. Boon of dimensional travel. Misty Step without expending a spell slot. But you can't use it again until you roll initiative or finish a short rest. As a one-time thing per encounter, that feels too soft. Yeah, I mean, it would have to, for me at least, be at least a proficiency bonus number of times, which would be 6, because proficiency bonus at 20 is 6. So, yeah. I can see it as like 6 times an encounter. No slots, no anything, just do it. But 1 seems a little short. I mean, Misty Step is a 2nd level spell. Basically having 1 extra specific spell that is 2nd level just doesn't feel good. No, I don't like that one. Definitely has to be more times. I mean, I would just let them, frankly, do Misty Step once a turn. I don't have any problem with that. I mean, you're 20th level. Be epic. Be epic. I mean, this is sort of epic in the right circumstance. Yeah, like, for rogues especially, this is huge. For a warrior, 1 automatic hit isn't that much. But that could be really useful for rogue. Wow. Resistance to 1 type of damage. Which you can change on a short or long rest. That doesn't seem so great. I mean, there's other ways to get damage resistance to a damage type that come a lot before 20th level. Being able to change it is nice, but I don't think that is worth a 20th level feat. I mean, a 10 plus feat, maybe. An epic feat, nah. I mean, if you could have immunity to 1 type, that would be epic. Especially if you could change it. Heck, if I'm gonna offer immunity, I wouldn't even need the whole changing it thing. If I can just say, nah, I'm now immune to thunder damage. That is epic. That is epic. I don't think they thought about the epic part of Epic Boon. So this one, Epic Boon of Fortitude. It is basically the endurance feat, I think it was. Or no, toughness. It is the toughness feat. It's not repeatable, but it's the same feat. Because you're at 20th level. Well, I think it gave you 1 point. This would give you 2 points per level, because it gives you 40 HP. You're 20th level, so yes, that would be 20 HP for toughness, 40 for this. So, an improvement over that, but... in the whole, you regain... whenever you regain hit points, you regain an additional number of hit points equal to your Constitution modifier. I don't know. That doesn't feel worth it. It makes healing on you better, but at this point, you would want, like, full heals. Or at least, like, half full heals. That little tiny bonus is like nothing. It feels like it comes too late. Definitely. This is another one that I think should be at 20 plus. Or maybe do it in 20 increments at that point. And then give this little bonus to healing. That I could see. Yeah. I mean, maybe maybe have that earlier at like 10th level. And then at this point, give you 40 rather than the 20. And do like advantage on death saves like you have over here with durable. In fact, it feels like this should basically have all of durable within it. So if you haven't taken durable, you should be able to get that plus some benefit. That would make it epic. Your damage always ignores resistance. If you added in that even if you were immune to it, you would only have resistance against your character. And that would make it epic. This is still really good in the right circumstance, but... Epic Boon of Luck. This is kind of like the lucky ability. Except it's once per short rest or long rest. And this feels like it would interfere with what the primary purpose of inspiration is. And especially for me, you get a lot more inspiration than this right here. So, when you're in dim light or darkness, you can become invisible as an action. You know what? If you could do this as a bonus action, this would be epic. It's still decent in the right circumstance. This is definitely what, like, say, a ranger might want. But, yeah, I just don't feel it's quite epic enough. Peerless Aim. This is basically the same thing as Combat Prowess, but it's the ranged version. And it has some weird extra verbiage about how if you miss, it is gonna take effect. But otherwise, this and that are the same. Epic Boon of Recovery. Bonus action to regain a number of hit points equal to half your hit point max. Oh, there is the good heal. And it's long rest only. Oh, and here it is again. In addition, you succeed on every death saving throw that isn't a roll of 1. You know what? Throw these over here into Fortitude. Or at least part of it, like this. This, succeed on every death saving throw that isn't a roll of 1. That should be over here. Yeah. I mean, that is a decent ability. Bonus action to regain half your hit points, which at level 20 should be like 50 plus hit points. Big heal. And it's a self-heal. I would probably make it like a rest rather than a long rest. Yeah, this is worst epic boon ever. Yes, you gain proficiency in all skills. Okay. Sure. I mean, if you're a bard, you have half of this at all times. And you have for multiple levels. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there would be some reason to have that. But, I don't know. It just doesn't feel good. Increasing your speed by 30 feet is nice. But with this, I would like maybe cunning action for dash. or disengage. A little bit more, I feel, is needed here. Because you get this extra move, but what are you doing with it? I mean, right now, you could run... Well, figuring you're not a monk or a barbarian, you could run 60 feet every turn. But you can't get away from an enemy once you strike, which is the main part. I mean, if you had, like, mobility feats, then maybe that would be useful. But this should have, like, the mobility feat as part of it. Or something similar. Epic Boon of Undetectability. You can't be seen or heard by any magical or non-magical means. I feel that belongs with the Boon of the Night Spirit. It's basically super stealth. But this definitely feels like it should go with that, rather than being separate abilities. Because this alone is not epic. Okay, you can't be detected if you are hidden. Okay? That doesn't feel epic. I can say it a few times. Epic Boon of the Unfettered. Okay, you can take Disengage as a bonus action, and it ends grapples and restrained conditions. The restrained conditions is kind of nice, but I don't know. That again doesn't feel epic. Make us feel epic, okay? Archery style. +2 bonus to attack rolls with ranged weapons. I would just call that accuracy. That's not even really archery. No part of that is archery. Defense style, you get a +1 when you wear armor. I mean, that's nice. I don't know. That feels like it needs a little more. Maybe an extra +1 if you have a shield. I mean, yeah, if you're going for full defense, that would easily let you take some heavy armor, a shield, and you'd be over AC 20. And then you'd feel very tanky. Sort of, at least. Dueling style. This is basically some crap version of using a one-handed weapon with 2 hands. Because it's just a +2 to damage when you're using a finesse weapon, or no, just any melee weapon in one hand. But if you have versatile, you're gonna have this anyway. And I mean that for the weapon, if it has the versatile property. Because usually they go from a D8 to a D10, which is a +2, ironically, or not. I really don't like this reroll damage thing as a mechanic. Oh, and it works for versatile. Then why is it called Great Weapon Fighting? And protection lets you potentially cause a miss for creatures hitting someone within 5 feet of you. 2 weapon fighting. Oh, this gives you back your ability modifier and the damage of the extra attack. I don't know if I, per se, like that as a fighting style feat. That should be like ambidextrous. Which just means you're as effective with the offhand as the main hand. Which basically seems to be what they're describing here. I don't know. I don't know what I would make the two-weapon fighting style about. Grappler. Okay, punch and grab is the useful thing from Grappler. It lets you make an arm strike, and on the same hit, grapple. And you can do that once a turn. That is useful. At least if you want to do grapples. Hopefully they've improved the grapple system. Great Weapon Master. Getting a cleave. Though it's all about critical hit. Or when you reduce the creature to 0 hit points. You get a bonus action attack with that weapon. Add your proficiency bonus with Heavy Weapon Master. And this one just gives you heavy armor training and a constitution or strength increase. That is totally not worth it. Really bad feat. I mean, if you really want heavy armor, there's gotta be a better way to get it. I mean, just take one level of fighter, and there, you're done. And you don't even need medium armor training to do it. Heavy armor master, damage reduction. Oh, and it's even equal to your proficiency bonus. Now this one is something I did in Celestia. I called it armor rating, but it is basically damage reduction. It's not just for heavy armor. It even applies to light armor. But definitely for heavy armor, it's a lot more effective. Though I made it armor dependent rather than proficiency bonus. But yeah, I would definitely let you in Celestia take Heavy Armor Master with this set, and you would add your proficiency bonus to the armor's normal AR for heavy armor. Heck, I would just probably call it Armor Master and get rid of it needing to be heavy. And then you would add your proficiency bonus to medium and heavy armor. Inspiring Leader. Temporary hit points, but it doesn't scale very well. And there's no method to get them back. I'm not sold on that. Keen Mind doesn't seem to have a lot that I am really interested in. Mage Slayer. Disadvantage on saving throw to maintain concentration. That can be useful. And Guarded Mind. Oh, you can just auto succeed on a intelligence, wisdom, or charisma saving throw. I would say that should be to a spell, because you are a mage slayer. But oh wow. So dexterous wear. Yeah, give you something that's only useful if you have a 16 for your dexterity score. That does not seem like a good ability. And it doesn't even give you medium armor. So, yeah. Mounted combat. Advantage on attack rolls. When you charge, basically. That's not bad. I don't know. I don't quite like that. But it seems like a bad take on, like, Cavalier, which was a subclass from the earlier books. Or I should say the current books. Observant. You can do search action as a bonus action. I vaguely like that. Polar Master. Yep, that looks like normal. Also, normal. Oh, halt. Speed becomes 0. That is very nice. Resilient just gives you a saving throw proficiency. I would not spend a feat to do that. It's much easier just to take a level in a class that has what you want. I mean, you spend a level, but you're done. No more needed. Ritual Caster. I don't know. I don't like any of that, really. It does not feel good. Mostly because I believe rituals shouldn't take spell slots. So if you want to keep casting, like Identify, it should just take you 10 minutes. Over and over again for each item. That's my thought. Sharpshooter, bypass cover, Thyrene melee. No disadvantage at range, long range. Shield Master, Shield Bash, Interpose Shield. Yeah, both of those are nice. Skulker. Blind Sight. Yeah, what did they say earlier about Rangers? And how there were other ways to get blind sight? Yeah, here we have it, right here. Speedster. Oh, and this increases your speed by 10 feet. While you're not wearing heavy armor. And lets you dash over difficult terrain without any extra movement cost. Yeah, that totally conflicts with the epic Boon for speed. Definitely suggests that that should be stronger. Spell Sniper bypasses cover, casting in melee, increased range. Warcaster, advantage on Constitution saving throws. And using a attack cantrip, I'm assuming? Oh no, any spell as a reaction. Sure, I'll fireball you as a reaction. Let me make sure I'm resistant to fire first. That part seems a little broken. Yeah, this weapon training, screw that. Just take a level of fighter. Or ranger, or any of them that give you martial proficiency. In the old days, when we had more weapon groups than just simple and martial, weapon training was a little more useful. But now that there's no difference, and everyone can either use simple weapons or all weapons, this is almost totally ineffective. You'd be better off just taking a level of fighter, or anyone else who has martial weapons. And then we get into the spell list, which just tells us what spells are out there. And then there's definitions. I think they talked about most of those. They talk about bark skin here. The new version of guidance. What hidden does, and the hide action. The new take on heroic inspiration, which is that critical fails give you 1 heroic inspiration. Also though, heroic inspiration, bardic inspiration, I think these things sound too much alike. And I'll reiterate that here. I know I said it earlier. Influencing people, what invisibility does. Yeah, jumping, which looks about normal. Oh, casting a spell is now a magic action. Why isn't it a casting action? Yeah, I prefer that as terminology goes. And that is it. We've covered it all. We've watched the videos. We've gone through everything. I mean, some of these at the end especially, I'm not paying too much attention to, other than to see if there's any big changes that pop out to me. Because terminology, for the most part, didn't change, except for the things they already talked about. So, yeah, and I don't think we need a look at any of those. But, yeah. Thanks for taking a look at One D&D with me. I've been talking for almost 3 hours straight. So I think it's time for me to give my voice a rest.